Okay, tell me some of your memories.
Well, the purpose of the base was to stop the Russians from invading the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
So we were assigned after going through all our training and atomic weapons training as well as Air Force flying training, and F-100 in particular in my case. All the F-100 training primarily was done in Arizona at Luke Air Force Base. After you finished your training, you received an assignment to somewhere in the world, and mine happened to be at RAF Wethersfield in Essex, England. Our mission there was to prevent the Russians from invading, and our primary weapon was atomic bombs. And we served on alert 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our tours would go for 3 days at a time, typically, standing by in a Quonset hut with an aircraft ready to be launched with a 2,000-pound atomic bomb. Atomic weapons were very dangerous equipment to be moving around, so we were not allowed to move the aircraft with an active bomb unless it was an actual retaliation. We had 8 aircraft on alert 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. 4 of them were to the 77th Tactical Fighter Squadron, and 4 of them were to the 55th Tactical Fighter Squadron. Our typical assignment was 3 days of alert at a time. You slept in a small bunkhouse, but next to the hangars where the aircraft were, the hangars just being open with a shield over the top, and a Palouse unit, that it was called, would provide the air to start the engine. And we were to be able to be airborne 5 minutes after the notification of an actual attack.
How frequently were you asked to take off?
What did we do?
How often were you sent up into the skies?
Well, luckily it never occurred because the Russians never really invaded the friendly territories. And when I left, they were still on alert, but as the risk of the invasion decreased over time, then I'm not sure how long it took before they actually deactivated. There's
Okay.
we got when I graduated from Purdue University, as an ROTC, Air Force ROTC student, I was obligated to serve my regular time in the Air Force. Went through pilot training in Big Spring, Texas, and then after completing pilot training, we were given a choice of the equipment based on how your rank was and your not your rank, but your status, having been graded in all the various techniques of flying and knowledge of the aircraft. And we were given so many aircraft, one for each pilot, and you chose based on your ranking in the class. So I was ranked like third in my class, and we had like 4 or 5 F100 assignments. So I got my first choice as the F100 Super Sabre, as well as 4 or 5 other guys behind me and one above me. And we went to Luke Air Force Base, and when we completed our training at Luke, after 6 months, we were given assignments to active duty squadrons in various parts of the world, and mine went to RAF Wethersfield in Essex, England. And of course, we started at the bottom of the seniority list when you got there. So as time went on, you got higher in rank. You were given different assignments, but we also had to train for nuclear weapons school, which required some pretty intense learning about what nuclear weapons did and how you had to prevent yourself from being taken out and prevent from destroying or damaging civilians and other than targeted. So we trained a lot in simulating a actual mission. The different missions involved various techniques. The lay-down delivery, where you'd be at 500 feet above the ground at 0.75 Mach, which is about 550 miles per hour at 200 feet above the ground, and you release the bomb, and by the time it went off, you were out of the blast zone. Another technique was a over the shoulder, where you would fly directly over the target and pull your aircraft up to a complete loop, and when you're pointing upward, you release the weapon. It would go up and come down and land, and by the time it exploded, you were out of the blast area. And we trained those with, similar weighted ordnance, but not the actual bombs, of course.
Of course.
And we did a lot of that out over the water and some on the land, and we would fly missions into mainland Europe and have different methods of navigating to the target area. And then we also had to train in air-to-air refueling, which required flying behind a KC-135, in most cases a tanker, jet tanker, and the boom operator on the tanker would drop the boom down and extend the flexible cord with a basket. And we had a probe on the aircraft, on the right side of the aircraft, and you fly up behind the KC-135, and hopefully your probe goes into the drogue. If you miss it, you better back off and try again. Or occasionally the basket would bang into your airplane,
Oops.
which is not a good idea. But we had to be refueled, and oftentimes when the target was beyond the range of the one fuel load. But we trained out over the Mediterranean, going to places like Turkey and Libya and Italy, and we had to refuel en route to make it without stopping somewhere.
Thank you, Ken, for that. Thank you.